The turkey was dry. That's what I remember most about Thanksgiving 2020, for the turkey was dry, the mashed potatoes were lumpy, and my brother called me selfish in front of 15 people. I was sitting at the kids' table. Again, I'm 34 years old. I have a master's degree in accounting. I'm a CPA with my own practice. But every Thanksgiving, I sit at the kids' table, a card table, set up in the corner of the dining room, folding chairs that wobble, plastic plates, while everyone else gets the good china. My brother Marcus sat at the head of the main table, his wife Jennifer beside him, their 2 kids to her left. My sister Ashley was there too, with her husband Derek and their 3 kids. Mom and Dad anchored the ends, and Carol, Uncle, Jim, and their 2 adult children filled out the rest. 15 people at the main table, me at the kids' table with the leftover chairs and paper napkins. Sarah, can you bring more rolls? Mom called from the dining room. I got up again and brought the bread basket from the kitchen. Thanks, sweetheart. Mom didn't look at me. She was already turning to Jennifer. Now, tell us about the Aspen trip. Was it fabulous? Jennifer launched into a story about their ski vacation. I'd seen the photos on Instagram. Made $1,000 resort, luxury everything. Marcus laughed at all the right moments, his arm around Jennifer's shoulders. I went back to my corner and ate my dry turkey. Sarah, we need water. Ashley Kayed. I filled water glasses, brought them to the table. Went back to my corner. The conversation flowed around me. Marcus's promotion, Ashley's new SUV. The kids' private school achievements. Mom and Dad's cruise last month. Nobody asked about my life. Nobody asked about my business. Nobody asked anything. I was the help, essentially. The one who brought things when summoned. After dinner, the men went to watch football. The women started clearing dishes. Sarah, you're on cleanup, Mom said. It wasn't a question. I loaded the dishwasher while everyone else had coffee and pie in the living room. Through the doorway, I could hear them talking. Did you see Sarah's car? Ashley said, voice low but not low enough. Same Honda, from college. So embarrassing. She's always been like that, Jennifer added. No ambition, no drive. I scrubbed a pan harder than necessary. I mean, we all help each other, right? Marcus's voice. But Sarah's never stepped up, not once. My hand stopped moving. Remember when Dad needed that loan? Ashley again. We all contributed. Sarah said she couldn't afford it. Classic Sarah, Uncle Jim laughed. All take, no give. I put down the pan and walked to the doorway. 15 people in the living room, all nodding along. Actually, I said quietly, can we talk about that? The room went silent. Marcus Tunes surprised I'd heard. Talk about what? About how I never help. About how I never support the family. Mom waved her hand. Sarah, don't be sensitive. We're just talking. No, I want to hear this. I'd like to know specifically when I failed to support this family. Ashley shifted uncomfortably. You know what we mean. You're always saying you're too busy or you can't afford it. Give me examples. Dad's loan, Marcus said. 3 years ago, he needed $15,000 for the business. We all helped, you said no. I nodded slowly. What else? Mom's car, Jennifer added. 2 years ago, she needed a new car. Everyone contributed. You didn't? Ashley's medical bills last year, Aunt Carol said. When she had the surgery, we all chipped in. You said you were strapped for cash. Marcus's wedding, Derek added. You didn't even offer to help with costs. Everyone else gave at least $2,000. You gave a toaster. The list went on. 6 months of Marcus's mortgage when he was between jobs. Ashley's kids' private school tuition, Mom and Dad's cruise. Uncle Jim's legal fees. Every time, apparently, I'd said no. I'd been selfish. I'd thought only of myself. I stood there, listening to 15 people detail my failures. Then, Primera smiled. Can I show you all something? I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. Pulled up a spreadsheet I'd been keeping for 4 years. Marcus, You mentioned Dad's $15,000 business loan 3 years ago? I scrolled through the spreadsheet. I didn't contribute to that loan because I'd already given Dad $22,000 6 months earlier, March 2021. When his business was failing and he couldn't make payroll, he asked me not to tell anyone because he was embarrassed. The room went very quiet. I have the bank transfer right here, March 15, 2021. $22,000 from my business account to Dad's. Memo: payroll assistance. Dad's face went pale. Mom's car, I continued, scrolling. I didn't contribute to the group fund because I'd already bought her a car, June 2022. Paid off her old Honda $8,400 remaining balance so she could trade it in. Then gave her $12,000 cash for the down payment on the new one. Total, $20,400. I turned the phone so Mom could see. June 18, 2022 bank transfer. Memo: car fund. Mom's hand went to her mouth. Ashley's medical bills. I kept scrolling. I didn't chip into the group fund because I'd already paid her hospital directly. $15,800, January 2023. She called me crying. Said insurance denied the claim. Said she was going to have to go to collections. I called the hospital and paid it that day. Ashley was shaking her head. That's not I didn't. January 14, 2023. Check number 2847. St. Mary's Medical Center, $15,800. I have the canceled check image. I looked at Derek Marcus's wedding. I gave a toaster because I'd already paid for the venue. The gardens at Riverside, $8,500 for the ceremony and reception space. Marcus called me in a panic 3 weeks before the wedding. Said the venue was going to cancel because they couldn't afford the deposit. I paid it. Jennifer's face went white. May 3, 2021 wired transfer. The gardens at Riverside, $8,500. Memo: M&J, wedding venue. Marcus stood up. Sarah, I'm not done. My voice was still calm. Still quiet. 6 months of Marcus's mortgage, $2,200 a month. That's $13,200. I didn't pay that because I'd already been paying his car payment, $680 a month for 18 months. Total, $12,240. Because he called me and said he couldn't afford both the mortgage and the car. And if the car got repossessed, he couldn't get to work. I pulled up more records. Automatic payments, $680 a month, February 2022 through July 2023. Ashley's kids' private school tuition. I did uncontribute to the family fund because ID already set up a direct payment plan with the school. Ashley was crying now. Automatic payments to Riverside Academy. $1,500 a month, September 2021 through August 2023. I scrolled through more entries. Mom and Dad's cruise. Didn't contribute because I'd paid off their credit cards the month before, so they could afford to go. $9,200 in credit card debt. March 2023. Uncle Jim's legal fees. Didn't chip in because I'd already paid his retainer. $5,000. October 2022. I kept scrolling. Every entry documented. Every transfer recorded. Every check numbered. Should I keep going? Because I have 4 years of this. The room was dead silent. How much? Dad's voice was barely a whisper. I pulled up the total at the bottom of the spreadsheet. $119,463. That's how much I've given this family in 4 years. That doesn't include smaller amounts: birthday gifts, Christmas presents, groceries I've bought, dinners I've paid for, just the major expenses. $119,463. I looked around the room. 15 faces staring at me. So when you say I never help, when you say I never support this family, when you call me selfish in front of everyone, ... I smiled. I just want to make sure we're all using the same definition of those words. Why didn't you tell anyone? Mom asked. I did tell people. I told each of you, individually, when I gave you the money. and every single one of you asked me not to tell the rest of the family. Dad didn't want people knowing his business failed. Mom didn't want people knowing she couldn't afford a car. Ashley didn't want people knowing about her medical debt. Marcus didn't want people knowing about his job loss. I put my phone away. I kept your secrets. All of them. All of them. And apparently, in return, you all decided I was the selfish one who never helps. Jennifer stood up. We didn't know. You didn't ask. None of you asked. You just assumed. Sarah Marcus started. I need to go. I picked up my keys from the kitchen counter. Thank you for dinner. Wait, Ashley said. We need to talk about this. No, we don't. You all talked about it just fine without me 10 minutes ago. In fact, you've apparently been talking about it for years. I headed for the door. Sarah, please, Mom called. I stopped with my hand on the doorknob. Turned around. I sat at the kids' table tonight. I'm 34 years old and I sat at the kids' table. Primera served food. I cleaned dishes. And then I got to hear 15 people discuss what a disappointment I am. We didn't mean Aunt Carol started. Yes, you did. You meant every word. I opened the door. Happy Thanksgiving. I left. I drove home to my apartment, not a house, just an apartment. Because ID spent $119,463 helping my family, instead of saving for a down payment and sat in my car for 20 minutes. Then I went inside, opened my laptop, and started making phone calls. First call, Dad's business. The accountant answered, even on Thanksgiving evening. Hi, this is Sarah Chun. I need to cancel the automatic payments I've been making to Chun and Associates. The $1,000 monthly payments for office expenses. I'd forgotten about those. I pulled up my records. 2 years of payments. $24,000. Yes, those. Cancel them effective immediately. Are you sure? Your father said these were critical for I'm sure. Cancel them. Second call. Call, Riverside Academy's billing department. Voicemail. This is Sarah Chun. I'm calling to cancel the automatic tuition payments for the Morrison children, effective immediately. Account number 847,392. Please confirm via email. Third call, Marcus's car financing company. Also, voicemail. This is Sarah Chun. I'm calling to cancel the automatic payments on account number 9,284,637. Effective immediately. Fourth call, Mom's car insurance. I'd been paying that too. Apparently, $240 a month for 2 years. Another $5,760. Cancelled. I went through my banking records systematically. Every automatic payment, every recurring transfer, every standing arrangement. I'll cancel. Cancel it. By 11 p.m., I'd canceled 14 different automatic payments totaling $4,890 per month, $58,680 per year. I'd been paying $58,680 per year to support my family, on top of the one-time payments, on top of tea emergencies. No wonder I drove a 2009 Honda. I closed my laptop and went to bed. My phone started buzzing at 6 a.m. the next morning. Marcus, what did you do? Ashley, my car insurance just sent a cancellation notice. Mom, the academy called. Sarah, what's going on? Dad, we need to talk. Call me. I silenced my phone and went to work. I'm a CPA. The day after Thanksgiving is one of my busiest days year-end tax planning appointments. Clients panicking about fourth quarter estimates. Everyone suddenly remembering they need financial advice before December. I had 12 appointments scheduled. My phone buzzed continuously between clients. By lunch, I had 47 missed calls and 63 text messages. I didn't read any of them. At 2 p.m., Marcus showed up at my office. Sarah, we need to talk. I looked up from my desk. I'm with clients all day. If you need an appointment, you can schedule through my assistant. I'm your brother, and I'm working. You can't just cut everyone off like this. I set down my pen. Marcus, I have a client waiting. If you'd like to schedule time to discuss your financial planning, I'm happy to help. Otherwise, you need to leave. My car payment got rejected. The loan company called me this morning. Then you should pay your car payment. I can't afford. He stopped. Sarah, please, just give me a month to figure this out. You've had 18 months to figure it out. I gave you 18 months. I didn't know you were paying. Yes, you did. You called me and asked me to pay. In February 2022, you said it was temporary, just until you got back on your feet. That was almost 2 years ago. His face flushed. I was in a hard place, so am I. I am in a hard place called driving a 15-year-old car because I've spent over $100,000 supporting my family who thinks I am selfish. We didn't know you knew exactly what you were getting from me. You just didn't know what everyone else was getting. And now that you do, you're embarrassed. He sat down in the chair across from my desk. What do you want from us? Nothing. I want nothing from you. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have right now. I glanced at my clock. I have a client in 5 minutes. You need to go. He left. My 2 p.m. client arrived. Mr. Davidson, 67, wanting to discuss retirement withdrawals. Nice man, good tipper at Christmas. We've been talking for 10 minutes when my office door burst open. Ashley and Jennifer, both crying. Sarah, the school called. Ashley was near hysterics. They said the kids are being withdrawn for non-payments. Primera, stood up. Ladies, I'm with a client. This is an emergency. I turned to Mr. Davidson. I apologize. Can you give me 5 minutes? He nodded, looking uncomfortable. I stepped into the hallway with Ashley and Jennifer. The school sent a letter. Jennifer sighed. They said automatic payments were canceled. And there's a balance of $3,000 due immediately or the kids come back after Christmas break. Then you should pay it. We can't afford $3,000. Ashley's voice went shrill. You know we can't. Then you can't afford private school. They'll have to go to public school. Do you know what the public schools are like here? Yes, I went to them. They're fine. But the kids have friends. They have programs. Ashley, you make $67,000 a year. Derek makes $71,000. That's $138,000 combined. You can afford to send your kids to public school and save for private school tuition, or you can make budget adjustments. But I'm not paying $18,000 a year so your kids can go to school with the right families. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? She had no answer. I have a client waiting. I went back into my office. Mr. Davidson rescheduled. Too uncomfortable to continue. I didn't blame him. By the end of the day, I'd canceled 3 appointments and lost 2 clients who'd witnessed the family drama. At 6 p.m., I locked up and went home. Mom and Dad were sitting in their car in my apartment parking lot. I walked past them to my door. Sarah, please. Mom got out of the car. We need to talk. I'm tired. 5 minutes. I unlocked my door. Didn't invite them in. Just left it open and went to my kitchen to make tea. They came in. Sat at my small dining table. You can't just cut us off, Dad said. I can, actually. We're family. Family that spent Thanksgiving discussing how selfish I am. In front of 15 people. Mom started crying. We didn't know you were helping so many of us. Because none of you talked to each other. Because everyone wanted to keep their financial problems secret. Because it was easier to blame me than to admit you all needed help. That's not fair, Dad said. What is not fair is that I've spent over $100,000 helping this family while living in a 1-bedroom apartment and driving a car held together with hope and duct tape. What's not fair is sitting at the kids' table at 34. What is not fair is being called selfish by people whose lives I've been subsidizing for years. Silence. The business is going to fail, Dad said quietly. Without those monthly payments, I can't make rent on the office. Then you need to downsize. Work from home, cut expenses, file bankruptcy if necessary. But I'm not funding it anymore. Everything I've built, Dad. You called me 18 months ago and said you needed help temporarily. I've given you $24,000 in 18 months. That's not temporary. That's a failing business model. His face crumpled. Mom reached across the table. Sarah, please, we made a mistake. We said things we shouldn't have. But we're family. We help each other. I've been helping for 4 years. $119,463 worth of helping. Now it's your turn to help yourselves. We can't? Then you'll figure it out. The same way I figured out how to afford my master's degree without asking you for a dime. The same way I built my business without family loans. Tesame, Yve lived within my means, even when it meant living in a tiny apartment and driving an old car. I stood up. I need you to leave now. They didn't move. Please, Dad said. At least give us a month. 1 month to adjust? No. You'd let your family go under? You're not going under. You're being forced to live within your means. There's a difference. Mom stood. If you do this, the family will never forgive you. The family spent 4 years thinking I was selfish while I paid their bills. I think I'll survive their disapproval. They left. The next week was chaos. Marcus's car got repossessed. He called me 17 times. I didn't answer. Ashley pulled her kids from private school, posted a long Facebook rant about family betrayal. Tagged me. I deleted Facebook. Dad, as business landlord, called me. Directly, Dad had apparently given them my number as a financial gift. I told them I'd never agree to that and they should speak to their tenant. Mom's car insurance lapsed. She got pulled over, got a ticket for driving uninsured. Called me sobbing. I listened. Save. Nothing. Hung up. Aunt Carol sent me a long email about how I was destroying the family over money. And money is on everything, and you will regret this when we all gone. I replied with a single line. You're right. Money isn't everything, which is why I'm no longer prioritizing it over my own well-being. Uncle Jim threatened to sue me for promissory as claimed ID created a verbal contract by paying his legal fees. I forwarded his email to my attorney. She called him. It dropped. Italiano. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, the foreclosure notices started arriving. Not to me to them, Marcus had been 3 months behind on his mortgage before I started paying his car. Without the car payment money, he couldn't catch up. Foreclosure proceedings initiated. Dad's business was being evicted. 30 days notice. Mom and Dad's house, paid off for 20 years, had been refinanced 3 years ago. They'd taken out a $150,000 home equity loan. I didn't know about that. They were behind on payments. Foreclosure warning issued. Ashley and Derek were fine, they rented, but they had $47,000 in credit card debt I didn't know about. Minimum payments were $1,100 a month. They'd been paying $400 and hoping to catch up eventually. Collection agencies started calling them. My phone buzzed constantly. I stopped answering it entirely. Then, 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, someone knocked on my door at 10 p.m. Jennifer. Alone. Looking exhausted. Can we talk? It's late? Please? I let her in. She sat on my couch and stared at her hands. Marcus didn't tell me about the car payments. About asking you for help. About any of it. I said nothing. I thought we were making it. I thought he was handling the finances. I didn't know we were 3 months behind on the mortgage. I didn't know about the car situation. I didn't know he'd asked you for help. Okay, he's been hiding our financial situation from me for 2 years. I just found out last week when I went through the bank statements after the car got repossessed. She looked up at me. We're losing the house? The Aspen trip. He put it on a credit card. We can't afford any of this. We couldn't afford any of it. Why are you telling me this? Because I owe you an apology. I called you selfish. I said you had no ambition. And the whole time, you were the only thing keeping my family afloat. I sat down in the chair across from her. Marcus and I are separating. I can't be with someone who lied to me like this, who put us this deep in debt and then blamed his sister for not doing more. I'm sorry. Don't be. This is who he is. I just didn't want to see it. She wiped her eyes. I wanted you to know that not everyone in the family thinks you're wrong. Some of us are starting to understand what you've been dealing with. Thank you. She stood. I should go. I needed you to hear that. After she left, I sat in the quiet of my apartment for a long time. A month after Thanksgiving, I got a call from an unknown number. Ms. Chun, this is Patricia Ford from Family First Credit Counseling. Your father gave me your number. I'm not paying his debts. I'm not calling about payment. I'm calling because your father has enrolled in our debt management program. He wanted you to know that he is taking responsibility for his finances and wanted to apologize for putting you in an unfair position. I was quiet. He asked if you'd be willing to meet with him with me present as a mediator to discuss family financial boundaries going forward. Why? Because he wants to repair the relationship and he recognizes that requires acknowledging the harm that was done. I thought about it. When would next Tuesday work? I'll be there. The meeting was at the credit counseling office. Dad sat across from me, looking older than I remembered. Patricia, the counselor, sat at the head of the table. Thank you both for coming. Mr. Chun, you wanted to start? Dad cleared his throat. Sarah, I owe you an apology. Several apologies. I waited. I took advantage of your generosity. I told myself it was temporary, that I'd pay you back. But I never did, he kept attacking. And then, instead of being grateful, I let the family blame you for not doing more. He pulled out a folder. I've been working with Patricia on a budget. A real budget, the business is closing. I can't sustain it. I'm taking a job with Henderson Manufacturing, $62,000 salary. Your mother is going back to work part-time. We're selling the house. We're moving to a smaller place we can actually afford. He slid the folder across the table. This is a payment plan. It'll take me 12 years, but I'm going to pay you back every penny. $119,463. Plus interest. I looked at the folder. Didn't open it. I don't want your money, Dad. You should have it. I don't want it. What I want is for you to be financially stable. What I want is for you to stop living beyond your means. What I want is for the family to stop treating me like I'm the problem. We won't. I promised. I'm not sure I believe you yet. He nodded. That's fair. But I'm going to prove it, however long it takes. 6 months later, things had changed. Marcus and Jennifer divorced. Marcus moved into a studio apartment, filed bankruptcy, and started therapy. Ashley and Derek enrolled in financial counseling, pulled the kids from private school, started a budget. Mom and Dad sold their house, moved into a townhouse. Both working, both actually paying their bills. Uncle Jim paid his own legal fees for a new issue, didn't ask me for help. Aunt Carol sent me an apology card. I didn't respond. But he kept Italiano. And I started saving. For the first time in 4 years, I was putting money into my own savings account, building my own emergency fund, planning my own future. I bought a new car, nothing fancy, a 2023 Toyota Corolla. Reliable. Affordable. When I posted a photo on Instagram, Marcus commented, "Congrats, you deserve it." Ashley liked the photo. Mom commented, "Proud of you, sweetheart. Small steps." Thanksgiving, 2025. I was invited to dinner at Mom and Dad's new townhouse. I almost didn't go, but I did. When I arrived, there was no kids' table, just one table, with 7 chairs. Mom, Dad, Marcus, Ashley, Derek, and me. The kids were at a friend's house. Ashley and Derek decided to make it an adults-only Thanksgiving. We wanted to keep it small this year, Mom said as she opened the door. Just immediate family. I sat down. At the actual table, on a real chair. The turkey was perfectly moist. We ate in relative quiet for a few minutes. Then Dad cleared his throat. Before we go any further, I want to say something. Looked at me. Last year, we treated Sarah terribly. We said things that weren't true. We took advantage of her generosity. And we blamed her for not doing more when she'd already done everything. Marcus nodded. I was especially awful. I'm sorry, Sarah. Truly. Ashley spoke up. I'm sorry too. For the Facebook post. For calling you at work. For everything. Mom was crying quietly. We're all sorry. And we're all doing better. Because you forced us to. I took a sip of water. I didn't force anything. I just stopped enabling. Same thing, Dad said with a small smile. How's the job? I asked him. Good. Good, really good. Actually. I should have done it years ago. The business was drowning me. And the townhouse, perfect, Mom said. We don't need all that space. This is plenty. Marcus spoke carefully. I've been sober for 4 months. I didn't realize the stress of hiding the debt, the lying to Jennifer. I was drinking a lot. Too much. I'm in AA now. That's good, Marcus. I'm also paying you back. $200 a month. Patricia helped me budget for it. You don't have to. I do. Not because you demanded it, but because I need to. For me, Ashley added. We're paying you back to Bala $150 a month. It's not much. But you don't need to do that. We do, Derek said. You kept our kids in school for 2 years. We need to make that right. I looked around the table. 7 people. Smaller than last year. Quieter, but honest. Okay, I said. If it helps you, okay. We ate dinner, talked about safe things, weather, work, the kids' public school, which they loved, as it turned out. Nobody asked me for money. Nobody made assumptions about my life. Nobody called me selfish. After dinner, as I was leaving, Mom hugged me. I know we have a long way to go, she whispered. But thank you for not giving up on us completely. I didn't give up on you. I gave up on being taken advantage of. There's a difference. She nodded. I know. And that's exactly what we needed. It's been 18 months since that Thanksgiving. The one where 15 people called me selfish. Dad has paid me back $2,400. Marcus has paid back $3,600. Ashley and Derek have paid back $2,700. I've put all of its $8,700 into a savings account. Not for me. For them. If there's ever a real emergency, I'll have it. But I haven't told them that. They need to believe they're paying back a debt. They need to feel the responsibility. And honestly, I need them to prove they've changed. My business is thriving. Turns out, when you're not spending $58,680 a year subsidizing your family, you can invest in marketing, hire an assistant, and actually grow. I moved into a better apartment, 2 bedrooms. One for me, one for an office. I'm dating someone. His name is Ryan. He's a teacher. He lives within his means. We split checks. It's refreshing. Last week, I got a call from Riverside Academy, the private school. Ms. Chun. This is Principal Matthews. I wanted to reach out about the Morrison children. My stomach dropped. What about them? They're thriving at Riverside Elementary. Their teachers rave about them. But more importantly, I wanted to thank you. Thank me. Mrs. Morrison came to see me last month. She explained the situation, that you'd been paying their tuition, that you'd stopped, that it was a wake-up call for the family. She wanted me to know that the 2 years you gave them were invaluable, and that now they're choosing public school not because they have to, but because they've learned to live within their means. Oh, she asked if there was any way to thank you. I suggested she might want to establish a small scholarship fund at Riverside Elementary in your name, for families who want to send their kids to our public schools but need help with school supplies, field trips, that sort of thing. She did that. She did. The Sarah Chun Family Scholarship. $5,000 initial donation, with plans to add to it annually. I sat down. Ms. Chun, I'm here. I'm surprised. You changed a family. That's worth celebrating. After we hung up, I sat in my office and cried. Not sad crying, not angry crying. Relief? Maybe. Or vindication, or just the release of 4 years of carrying weight I shouldn't have had to carry. My phone buzzed. Ashley? Did the school call you? About the scholarship? Jess. I wanted you to hear it from me too. Derek and I have been saving. We wanted to do something that honored what you did for us, but also helps other families. We're going to add $2,000 to it every year. Ashley, that's thank you. Thank you for everything, but especially for showing us that we were capable of standing on our own. We just needed to be forced to try. I still have the spreadsheet. $119,463 in payments over 4 years. I look at it sometimes. Not with resentment anymore. Just as a reminder that helping people doesn't mean losing yourself. A reminder that boundaries aren't cruel, they're necessary. A reminder that being called selfish by people you're re-supporting says more about them than it does about you. Last Thanksgiving, 15 people agreed I never helped. This Thanksgiving, 7 people knew better. The number got smaller, but the honesty got bigger. And that's worth more than $119,463 could ever buy. My phone buzzed. Dad, dinner was good last night. Same time next week. Your mother wants to try that new recipe. Me, I'll be there. Dad, good. And Sarah, bring Ryan, if you want. We'd like to meet him. Me, I'll ask him. Dad, one more thing. I hit 18 months at the new job. Got a raise. I'm increasing my payments to you. $300 a month now. Me, Dad. You don't have to, Dad. I know. But primera wa inte tunat because I owe you money. Because I owe you respect. And this is how I show it. I smiled at my phone. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. For not giving up on us, even when we deserved it. I put my phone down and looked around my office, my business, my apartment, my car, my life. Built on my terms, with my money. For my future, finally. The family still needed help sometimes, but now they asked. Respectfully, honestly. And sometimes, I said yes. But sometimes, I said no. And both answers were okay. Because I'd learned the most important lesson of all. You can love your family and still have boundaries. You can help your family and still help yourself. You can be generous and still say no. And being called selfish by people who take advantage of you doesn't make you selfish. It makes you human. And it makes them wrong. I pulled up my banking app, looked at my savings account. $47,000. For the first time in my adult life, I had real savings. Emergency fund fully funded. Retirement contributions maxed. Down payment for a house growing steadily. All because I'd finally learned to say no. I closed the app and smiled. Best decision I ever made.